Coach, can you talk about the focus on Tyreek Hill specifically? Seemed like he had somebody around him every time he touched the ball.
Well, he's an awfully good young player, and it's easy to say, well, he can just run fast, but I was impressed the way he played. I mean, we probably looked at it as though, it was the speed was the element for him, but he can do some other things. He made some people miss, from time to time, and obviously the big play that he had, catching the ball down the middle in that first drive, that was. Indicated that he's a well-rounded player as well. So I think he's going to be a fine player. And, we didn't play him as well as, I'd hoped that we would. But, after we got acclimated to what was going on, we did a little bit better job on him.
How much of a lift do you think it gave the team that after Oklahoma State could go up 7-0, you could get right back in at 7-7 with one play?
It's a good observation. It's not necessarily the question. It's just a good observation because it did. I mean, because you got a lot of guys sometimes that, and I'm not saying ours were, but sometimes when that happens, you have a lot of guys standing around looking at each other saying, wow, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, just you don't have time to do that, because he put it back in the end zone. So I think, personally, I think it had a major impact on not on the outcome of the ball game as much as just on the mindset of our players at that early stage of the game.
Coach, it seemed like Jake had a lot of time. Can you talk about your offensive line?
They did a nice job. As far as I think we only had one sack. I'm not positive about that, but the protection was good, and that's against probably two of the best. I won't say the best, but two of the best pass rushers off the edges in the conference, based on at least what we've seen up to this point in time. So our tackles had to do a good job. Our backs helped out a little bit once in a while. So and it wasn't always perfect, but by and large, I thought we did a pretty nice job.
Your side there too, your defensive pressure got Travis a couple of sacks today, but you had good pressure on their.
We did. It was inconsistent. Some of those, we got, I don't know what we had, 3 sacks. Somebody's got the stats in front of them, something along those lines. But, it's not always the sacks. It's just, maybe forcing some errant throws or forcing the scrambles. And I thought it was a combination. We had some good movement up in front. We had some, hard pressure off the edge and inside. But I thought on several of those, probably a couple of those sacks are what you'd call coverage sacks. Just he didn't have any place to go with the ball, and that cost him some extra time, and we were able to get to him. So, it was what do you say, team effort.
Hey, Coach, how important was the way you covered kicks with a dangerous return guy like that?
Well, I thought, with the exception of 2 snaps in the ball game, I thought our special teams, played extremely well. We had to block punt because our punters counting the laces on the ball, and he got to 10, and then they blocked it, and then we had one where. We had a guy on a return. We had a great chance at a return. We had a guy just give up on it. And outside of that, every facet of the kicking game was really awfully good. I was proud of the way we hit the ball. I was proud of our place kicker and, hitting. I hated like blazes to, it's one of those decisions you make, to kick a field goal with the score what it was, but we really needed to see where his range was, because all of his field goal kicks have been 32, 33, etc. I think his longest may have been 38, and I don't know what that one was, but it was what we would normally maybe consider out of his range. Just wanted to see him do it and give him the experience of being able to do it. I apologize for that.
Coach, as you know, you have a difficult stretch coming up with 3 games on the road against ranked opponents. How do you feel like your team is playing going into that stretch?
Well, I thought, as I said, I think today we played collectively reasonably well. We're not without, mistakes in all facets of the game, but I thought we played reasonably well. Yes, this is a difficult stretch. We're only looking at it with next week. I mean, that's all we have in mind right now, and not looking at the cumulative schedule as it goes, and still that one at a time. And TCU's I think has made amazing progress and tremendous football team. I know, they had, some struggles today, and Boynton had a little more difficulty today, but he's proven what he can do, and they've proven what they can do, and we'll more than have our hands full, I can assure you that.
Winning in Norman a couple of weeks ago give you confidence that you can give your team confidence that you can go on the road and beat teams of that caliber? Well,
it doesn't hurt. I assure you that. I think they, we don't necessarily look at it that way, but I agree with you. I think that's probably true. You have to ask them. There'll be a few of them in here in a bit.
Coach, the defense has done some good things. Obviously, comes up big with the Jonathan Truman fumble. Kind of a team effort in that sense because of how it came about. How's that kind of epitomize what this defense has been all about through the season?
Well, I think what it's really been all about is, a lot of guys playing together and a lot of coaches doing a nice job with their personnel. And, it still goes back to the discipline of it. And, when we had difficulty, then discipline is probably where you could go with, trying to find fault with it. And I think our group is becoming more and more and more disciplined. Our defense is about being in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. You've heard me say that, 1,000 times. And and normally that's that's the way they played. And I was pleased for Jonathan. I'm going to go back and put the stopwatch on that return. He might be a little faster than I've given him credit for. I thought he ran pretty well. It looked like a running back, didn't it? But and I was happy for Jonathan, because he was kind of excited about it, and how I feel about John. He's a pretty special young guy.
Bill, as you know, you appeared in a political ad here in the last day or so. Could you just clear up exactly what transpired there and whether you've asked for that particular ad to not be run?
Well, I made a mistake. I'm not going to delve into it exactly how everything happened, but I made a mistake, and I've embarrassed our university, and that's my responsibility, and that was my error. I'm not going to speak to it anymore right now, but anyway, that's my fault, nobody else's.
Coach, a lot of guys on this defense have made progress from a year ago, but Travis Britts really has seemed to have taken his play to another level. He had 2 sacks today and has really been a force inside. Can you comment on his play so far this year?
Well, what I really appreciate, and you've heard me say this, Fitz, I appreciate how he's maturing into, playing the game. He's kind of been a different youngster. He was kind of loose and, just had a good time with everything, and, how seriously he took it earlier. I'm not altogether certain, but I've seen him become so very, very serious about it. And not that he doesn't, he's a fun guy to be around, but, he's really invested himself in that old adage about trying to get better all the time, and he really works at it now. He puts in a good day. Both of those guys up there. Valentino does the same thing. They practice like they play, and that's the way you want to get, we want to get all of our guys to do, but they really do, and Travis has just gotten better, day in and day out, I think. And it's because of the effort he's put into it and the mindset that he has that he can improve. It's not that, that stabilized mindset. He's just always trying to get better. So.
Coach, another couple of highlight reel catches for Tyler Lockett in this game. I'm wondering, do you ever get a chance to, in the middle of the game, so many things going through your head, do you get a chance to sit back and appreciate some of the plays that he makes, or are you so involved with the next play and everything that you really can only watch him on film and get a look at him then?
Well, I saw the main one that you talked. He made several nice catches, and some of them that he made were heavily contested. That more often than not probably get batted out of your hands. But, the one you're talking about really was an excellent catch. And, when they did come off the field after they scored, I certainly was happy and let him know that I was, and I appreciated what he did. But it's heartwarming to a certain degree, because I've said so many times about Tyler, here's a young guy, a self-made man, as in regards to being an athlete and a football player. When he came, he couldn't catch the ball any better than I can, and he's worked at it so diligently. I can catch the ball pretty well now, but he works at it so diligently. And you've heard me say so many times, he's the last guy off the field. He's out catching punts. He's out catching off the jugs machine. Keeps the quarterbacks out there until they, feel like they're going to miss a meal. But he works at it, and he cares. So I don't know what else I can say about him. But yeah, I enjoy any of our guys when they have successes like that and do something a little extraordinary.
Coach, it seems like every week in these post games we keep asking you, is this the best collectively that you guys have played? Is that an indication of the fact that you guys are really starting to come together at the right time in this part of the season?
Well, I mean, every week is the right time, in my way of thinking. And our way of thinking. I think players hopefully, and I believe they would, tell you, exactly the same thing. The important thing is just to try to stay healthy at this time of year, and that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. But are we getting better? I think so. That's a gradual process as well. But I would say we're a better football team right now than we have been. But it's just been incremental, and you always see me do the same thing, and with little dips in the road. But yeah, we're an improved football team.